All right, so let's work on this header now. Now, if you follow along with the last section of the course when we created the Vue app, well, I really don't want to have to rewrite all of the HTML for everything again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up that project, the Vue project, and I'm going to copy the HTML and make it work here in React. So again, if you want, if you want to be able to follow along and kind of understand essentially, all the HTML process, then watch the Vue section of this course. All right, so here I have the Vue, the app.vue, and this really has the header portion at the top. I'm going to create, or copy rather, everything from div, nav, hash shadow, all the way down right to here, just above the router view section. So once I do that, I'm going to real quickly create a new file because we're going to copy or replace rather every instance of class and change it to class name. So create a new file. It doesn't matter the name because we're going to delete it. Just going to copy this or paste this in rather. And right here, I'm just going to select class, Control F, and we're going to replace, and we click on this little button right here to class name. And click on this button and I'll change them all to class name as need be. All right, so I'm going to copy that now, select all and copy, delete that. We'll go ahead and delete that file right there. And now inside of here, take this and paste in everything that we had there. So now it's giving us some issues here because we have this V on click stuff happening right here. That's for Vue. So we're just going to delete that. And then also delete this V bind right there. All right, cool. So of course this won't work as well because we have router link and that's specific to Vue as well. So we're just going to delete that right there. So if you have npm start still running on your console and you save that file, this is what it should look like now. Because remember, it doesn't look like it's the actual full navigation. It doesn't have the dark background because we don't have any CSS yet working with that. All right, so what we'll do, let's get our CSS stuff working as well. So what we'll do at the top is we're going to import a file that doesn't yet exist, and that will be header.css. And then we're also create a new file in the same folder called header.sass. All right. And again, this is all simply coming from the previous Vue course, or Vue project rather. I'm just using the same Sass rule sets or CSS rule sets that I created before. So I'm going to paste in this stuff right here. And it's not going to work yet. We have to import our mq.sass file, which we haven't yet created. But at the top, we want to import a file that we're going to create out here. And that's our mediaqueries.sass file. And so this is something that we had set up in the previous project in Vue as well. So out here, I'm just going to click on any of the files and create a new file called mq.sass. And I'm just going to paste in everything that we had there in the previous. So this is just some initial variables that we want access to. And then there's also some mix-ins for responsive CSS, basically, for our viewports right here. So we'll save that. We'll go to here and we'll save that. Notice it will create a header.css file with all that stuff now written. And then over here, we'll save our header.js file too. All right, so now if you save everything, you'll find that if we go to our app here, that it's not really, we don't have our background, even though we set it already. And that's because we're going to go to our app.js and we're going to take our import of this app.css and put it at the top here. And that way it doesn't override the settings that are in our header and our feature footer. So now if we go back after saving that, we'll see that now we have our header working here properly. Okay, So the next step is within our header.js and the template. Remember, we removed the 4 links here. So those links again are basically right here. So in order to get these working properly, we're going to have to set up routing. And we'll sort of work backwards, and we'll just start here in header.js by using the link attribute here. So link to, and this is the URL. Class name is nav item, and sorry about that, and r-item, and this is going to be the home. So again, we don't use regular ahrefs or anything like that. We're going to copy this and we'll paste it 3 times. This is going to be features, about, and fac. This will be simply, we're going to point all 3 to fac because we're not going to bother making all these pages. Now we also have to import link at the top. So import link from in React router DOM. So we'll save that. And now it will error as I intended because we do not have React router DOM installed. So we're going to install that real quickly in the console. So we'll come over here, npm install React router DOM, and we'll save it as a dependency. All right, once that's finished, we're going to go back to our project here, and we're going to head out over to our index.js file, and we have to import a browser router from the package that we just installed. So that looks like this right here. So import browser router from our package that we just installed. And then we have to make a couple adjustments here just under the app portion. All right, so we'll tab this in. And this is going to be, we're going to reference what we just imported. So browser router. And the app goes inside of it. Browser router. All right, that looks good. We'll save it. And now we see our links here, which don't work. They don't go anywhere because we haven't set up the routes yet. So let's do that real quick in our app.js. All right, so like I mentioned before, these go straight here in the middle. Okay, so what we do is reference route, which we're going to have to import at the top. And for the home page or just the root page, we're going to set exact to path, to true, and path to just a /. And the component that we're going to load for that URL is the home component. All right, so we haven't yet imported, so we have to import both of those at the top, both the route and home. So we're going to import route from the React router DOM package. And then also, real quickly, I'll just copy this footer. I'm also going to copy and just paste that twice. This is going to be fac from fac, and then also home from home, our footer right there, home. All right, so not all these files were created though. So fact, there's nothing in there, and home's nothing in there. So let me just real quickly create that. So we have our header right here. I'm just gonna, one real quick tip I'm going to show you actually is if we create a file, we'll just call this home.js. Here in Visual Studio Code, if you head on over to this section right here, and you type in React, for instance, you'll see that we have all these different, packages that we can install right here. And we have code snippets. So you can install any of these or some of these, and they'll give you access to certain just shorthand commands. So for instance, we just created a new component. If I type in RSC, this will create a stateless, for instance, React component. So remember I talked about, this type of stateless component. Well, there we go. We just type in RSC and we get that. Well, if we type in RCC, we'll see we have a React component, and this is a stateful component. All right, just a quick tip there. So we'll save this here. I'll just call this here in the middle home, and we'll give this a name of home right here, and also export it. I'll take all this stuff and just copy it. We'll go to our FAQ page and create a new file called FAQ.js. And FAQ here, 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 and here. All right. So now you can see in the browser, if we're at the home page, we'll see it says home now because this is all the content that's inside of our home component. FAQ doesn't yet load anything because we haven't imported that into our app.js file. So just underneath this, we're going to reference route. The path is /FAQ, and then component equals FAQ. So we'll save that, we'll go back to our project, and there we go. We can now see FAQ corresponds with FAQ, and home is over here. All right, great. So now in the next section, we're going to focus on getting this footer down here working.